everyone, Justin Bradford, Penalty Box Radio, and joining me right now is David Fessenden of the University of Alabama and Huntsville Chargers. A big weekend, a sweep of Ferris State. David, thanks for joining me, man.
It's good to be here.
So obviously not really able to do post games like we typically traditionally do. So this is my post game report from the weekend. First of all, just the sweep in general. What was it like for you to come in, especially the first home games, knowing everything that went on in the offseason, for you guys to be able to come in and get a thrilling overtime victory and to get a shutout victory and to do that at home in front of your fans?
I mean, it meant a lot to the group as a whole, and especially me, because as like you said, there's a lot that's happened with this program in a short amount of time, and there's a lot of build up for this weekend, being our first weekend as a team, and it was really exciting. There was a lot of tension, so having a success in that weekend was honestly just the best thing. It just felt good to give all the people that have supported us and watched us something to watch and something to be proud about. And in the end, that's what we were doing it for. Yeah, we want to win games, but for all the people that have made this program continue, we just want to play for them, and because they've done so much for us.
And the energy, I'm sure, was pretty unique compared to most of the country, being able to have fans in the building like that too. How much did that feed you guys as well in these games? Because I mean, just having that atmosphere, there is a part of the game where you're feeding off energy of a crowd, and especially going into overtime and then being able to seal a shutout like that too. How much did the fan energy play a part in this for you guys?
Oh, it's an amazing atmosphere, especially at the VBC, knowing that we have everybody that we know at the games and supporting us. That feeds into it a lot, because playing a game with no fans, it's kind of like a AAA game. You're focused, but there's that the atmosphere that you miss, that you crave from a college experience, and having just all those people around us, and it really did. It made us all excited and made us really amped. It gave us a little energy, a little boost at the end, and when we needed it, when at the in between periods, you hear the people shouting and screaming for everything, and that means a lot to us, and we love it. And especially because we haven't had that all year and haven't had it in a while, especially.
And so let's start off with the January 8th game, the first game against Ferris State, which was the overtime victory there too. What was your view? Because on the ice, I mean, the goaltender is the one position that really does see everything that is going on. So take us through what you saw when you guys won the game, and just what the feelings were like from you, and just what you saw develop on the ice when that happened.
I mean, it was definitely a back and forth game. It was very intense. Both teams had a lot of offense, a lot of great opportunities. I think Ferris State were really pushing us, and we were pushing back. And I think the best thing was we definitely were down a few times in that period, or in the game overall, but we never quit. And there was no sense of we're out of this game. There was no sense of we're done because we're down. It just was never there. There was a sense of confidence of. It was a silent confidence our team kind of had, knowing that, like, hey, we've done this before. We played this game a million times. We can figure this out. And the relentlessness from every single guy on this team, from Dane Vincent to blocking shots, and there's so many guys that contributed, and I don't think not a single guy on that team quit. And that's what really brought that game around to our advantage.
And I'm sure that fed you into the shutout the next night. I mean, a 2-0 shutout is absolutely huge to get that at home like that. I mean, you guys are going into this, and then there's penalties that are happening too. And I know that's something I'm going to talk with Coach Ziernis about too, is just cleaning up things a little bit. So there's pressure being put on you going on the PK so early, but you're staying up big. 42 saves being made in that shutout. Just in that game in general right there, were you just feeling it? Were you feeling it big time?
I think, yeah, from the first game, there was definitely an adrenaline high everybody had. They were super excited, and from that game, I just saw so many guys just putting it on the line to win that game, and it was definitely in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, I got to do this for my team, for my boys. They've put everything into that, winning that game. Like, this one's for them, and that's what I think we have a really great dynamic is there's no guy like doing it for himself. There's guys doing it because the guy next to him laid out and either blocked a shot or made the right play and did the right thing. It's like, all right, well, I got to do it because of him. And yeah, I guess you could say I was in the zone. Like I definitely wasn't thinking about it. Like every goalie will definitely say, when that happens, you're just trying to think about the play, and you don't want to say the S word. You don't want to hear it. You just want to keep going. But yeah, I just felt good, and I felt confident in my team, and I felt like we had it as a group. So there was no pressure.
And this kind of thing too, there's been talk, especially with this program, because it's gone through so many ups and downs, just about moral victories. And there are a few already this season of the team being in these games and having some really close losses, which is great to have. But getting over that hump of getting the victory, how much does it build confidence for this team to get the taste of victory and not just a one win, but to be able to sweep and know that you guys can beat a conference opponent like this and actually be able to shut an opponent out like this too? What does it do for confidence of the team in general?
Oh, it's honestly the best thing for it. Like nothing, the best cure is winning. Like I think anyone can say that. That first win was like the breaking the ice. Everyone knew what it felt like now because we were a really new team. We have a lot of new freshmen and it's a new group of guys, and we're clicking, but we haven't had that success to really bring us together. And that first win definitely broke us through the ice. We're like, all right, we know we can do this now. In our heads, that doubt, that pressure off the shoulders kind of just unlifted, and that's why we just kept going out. We're like, all right, well, we can do it once, we can do it again. Especially a sweep out of everything. Now we have no excuses. We know what we're capable of, and yeah, we have to keep going.
And so this season too, it's one of those things. It's a unique situation that all three on the coaching staff are alums of the program, and obviously Lance West has been a part of UAH before, and then he's been in college hockey for a long time. Carlos Ziernis has been international; he's coached junior and college, and then Carmine Guerrero, goaltender as well. So first off, just what's it like having these alums as coaches that are really invested in the program, and secondly, too, just having a goaltender like Carmine that is pretty recent from leaving the program and having a career coaching as well and playing too. What's it like to have him there for you?
The coaching staff this year has just been absolutely amazing. It definitely, you can see a difference having three alum. They care so much about this program because they've been in our shoes and they understand what we're going through and they understand what we want. And there's clarity between us and the coaches because we're all in it for the same program. We all made the same decision to be a UAH Charger. And that is a bond that kind of is unwritten. And they're just great coaches that have really clicked with all the players. And Zerlis has been a Westy we've always known is just a great guy. And Zerlis is really intelligent about the game and brings so much knowledge to players as a whole. And Carmine has just been a great add. He's a young guy, but he's very intelligent, really cares about the game, and really cares about UH. And as a goaltender, that's all you can ask for is just having those people around you to bounce questions off, to learn. And it's really been a beneficial, especially for this year, just to learn from these guys because they know what it takes to be at that highest level and they want to help you. So it's great to be around.
Absolutely. And you can definitely see that just in terms of the way the team is. And you see a different type of energy out there on the ice just from watching the games and everything. You see different energy just on the bench and on the ice and how guys are reacting and a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, which is fun to see that these guys have a chip on the shoulder and your team is playing so well already this season and building for the future. And so now talking a little about goalies, because it's always fun to get inside a goalie head a little bit too. So goaltenders typically tend to be pretty good students of the game for obvious reasons, because you have to know so much about what's going on the ice. Are there any goaltenders, pro goaltenders that you kind of modeled your game after? You really studied a lot when you're growing up to help improve your game?
Yeah, I mean, every goalie gets this question, and a lot of people go off there. They immediately have their number one guy that they've watched their entire life. And for me, like as you can see, I have a Bruins jersey. I've always loved that team. So Tuukka Rask, Tim Thomas. But for me, I just love goalies. I love watching all sorts of goalies, to either be Pekka Rinne, Varlamov. I love the craft of being a goalie. I think everyone has a unique take on it and no one is the same. So I like watching any pro. If there's any, like when I watch hockey, I watch it very differently than most people. It's all eyes on what the big guy in the net's doing. I don't really watch anything else. But growing up, I think the one guy, it was Tim Thomas, was definitely one of my biggest because of his mentality. He was just a battler and he competed in the net and then he won a Stanley Cup and that was kind of my favorite. But I mean, my body size is very different than most goalies, so I have to kind of marvel my game in my own way.
Yeah, I mean, you're listed at 6'6", so obviously the Pecorine comparison can come out there a little bit
Oh,
too.
you always got to watch the big guys. Yep.
So especially with that too, I mean, tall goaltenders didn't necessarily exist years ago, and has been the thing now that we see plenty of them, especially coming from Europe. Plenty of tall goaltenders, but then you also have Ben Bishop, which is a pretty tall guy as well. The evolution of the goaltender as well. How have you seen that change in terms of you being someone that studies goalies and how they've had to change and model their games differently? Because you think, and I'll take this with Nashville as well, because you have Pecorine, who is really tall, Rinne Saros, who is considered pretty short as well. So they obviously have to have different styles in the game. So how have you seen that evolution of the goaltender happen depending on size and everything too?
Yeah, the game is continuously changing and getting quicker, especially forwards. The ability to make plays and make them instantly has become a challenge for a goaltender. So the ability to read plays, I think, for all goalies is the next step, and the ability to know where the puck's going to be before there and be prepared to go to that position before it's there. For example, Rinne is very angled. And he's very good. He sits deep in his net, but he plays to his strengths of being a large goaltender and very reactive, while Saros is very athletic and challenges. What I see in the game today is people are they're more adapting to what their strengths are and their body is. It's not a bad thing to be a small goalie. You just have to play it a more specific way to attack the angle. And while a bigger goalie could not do what a smaller goalie, I can't move the same way some guys that are very small, but I can take up space a little different. So it's all about angles. In the end, goaltending's all angles and all positioning, and however you take up that space best is the name of the game, to be honest.
Awesome. Well, I could do this all night. I'm sure talk about goalie stuff because it's really fascinating just to keep learning. So we'll have to touch on that later in the season and catch up with you more to get inside the head of the goaley because I love talking about that stuff too. And you said before the interview you're not much of a talker. You've been great, man. You're great at analyzing the game. I think you might have a future as a broadcaster too, man.
We'll see.
Well, David, just congratulations on the great weekend. Looking forward to see you in action more as we come along here too. Just big congrats as well as I know it's really exciting. Continue to build off of that, and thanks for taking the time to talk to me today.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, and I appreciate all the support. I really do.